Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I'm George. We're all George. So, Bitcoin hangs in a balance. We all know what's coming, or do we? Here comes Jerome Powell, set to have a big press conference tomorrow morning. So, let's talk about that, and let's talk about what else is going on in the world of crypto, including the Vasil hard fork. That may be coming a lot sooner than expected. So let's get started. Smash out a like, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell to get notified of all my streams. Follow me on social media. Check out CryptosRUs.com. And make sure you follow all my channels out there. Good content. Welcome, 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 guys. Good evening. Not good morning. I don't need to ring my morning bell right now. Bitcoin, like I said, kind of stuck. 21.5. It got as high as 21.7, I believe, earlier today. But overall, just kind of hanging there, right? Hanging in balance, I guess. Overall crypto market cap, up slightly. And looking at tomorrow's futures, about even right now, right? So a lot of people are waiting for this man right here. What is he going to say, right? He's not doing his usual press conference. It's not an FOMC press conference. So we really don't know. I mean, he's going to be talking about economy, right? How he sees inflation right now. Whether or not it's getting worse, getting better. What about last month's PCI or CPI, not PCI, CPI number. And we have a PCE number that's coming up too. So he's going to digest all that for us and give us some insight into what he and the rest of the FOMC board governors will be doing, right? So that is the big thing for tomorrow. And that's earlier than usual. Usually his press conferences are like in the afternoon, like 1 p.m., 1:30 p.m. But I believe tomorrow's it'll be pretty close to my stream. I think it's going to be 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. So I may be able to just show it during my stream. And that would be great. We'll have a 2-for-1 sale, I guess. But some of the guys that are kind of, predicting, speculating what may happen, well, they're like, prepare for persistent inflation and continued rate hikes. So there are some people out there, some economists, some analysts that think, well, even though the markets have done better recently, but still, this whole thing with inflation has not gone away, right? We still have high energy prices. We still have high commodity prices, high food costs, right? A lot of these stuff that we're facing is not just going to disappear overnight, right? So still, some are being cautious and warning not to get too excited just yet. But I will say that things are definitely improving, and we will see what he says tomorrow. If Powell is dovish tomorrow, right? And like the same stance he had last month, where he says, well, things are still fluid. We're still digesting data. We won't make any determinations until September when we have our next meeting. And then we'll decide if we need to be aggressive at 75 basis points, or we could be a little bit more dovish, maybe 50 basis points, something like that. If he comes out not very aggressive, not like all gung-ho about, raising rates, that's going to be a fantastic thing. I think we're going to see a good rally afterwards. But if he does the opposite, then we'll probably go see some weakness. But if he says nothing, I would say that's a win too. If he's like, okay, we can't make any determination yet, we'll decide next month in September during our next meeting, well, I think that could be a good thing too. So, again, just speculating. We will see what he says tomorrow, right? Like I said, it should be during my stream, so we could probably just stream at the same time. All right. Besides that, what else is there? If you're in California, you better get ready, because by 2035, which sounds like it's so distant, right? But it's only 13 years. And 12 years. If you think about a cycle for a car, right? It's about 4 to 5 years. Sometimes it's longer, like 6, 8 years. So really within 2 generations, 3 generations, they better be all EV because if they're not, you're not going to be able to sell it in California, right? So this will basically force automakers, and California is the biggest, I guess, car purchasing state or place in the world. There's more cars bought in California than anywhere else. So basically they put their foot down, and all manufacturers are going to be rushing to EV because if they don't, they won't be able to sell any cars in California by 2035. So this has a lot of people panicking. So obviously someone like Tesla, they're in a really good position. Ford, maybe. Ford has a couple. I'm test driving the Ford Lightning right now. Absolutely. I'm so impressed with that truck. I would buy that truck if it wasn't being sold over MSRP right now. It is a damn impressive truck, to say the least. So Ford has their act together. With this Lightning, I've tested their Mach-E's. Great, right? But obviously it's only 2 cars. But like Tesla is in a really good position, obviously. But other manufacturers like Honda and Toyota, and many others with 0 EV cars, they better get going. Anyways, so there's that. That's big news. What else is big news? Well, SpaceX just teamed up with T-Mobile. This is a big collaboration to use Starlink as satellites to end mobile dead zones, and we all experienced that. You're in the middle of nowhere, or you're on the highway or somewhere. All of a sudden, you just have no signal, right? Well, this team up is supposed to eliminate that altogether. So I think this is pretty good. Pretty big for T-Mobile, right? T-Mobile has been growing by leaps and bounds recently. So I think this is pretty good for T-Mobile overall. And, of course, good for SpaceX and good for Elon. What's not good for Elon is I saw this. The judge looked at what Elon asked for from Twitter and basically says it's absurdly broad. So basically, the judge does not like what Elon asked for as for his reason why he didn't go through with the Twitter buy, right? So we'll see how that concludes, whether or not Elon is just really backtracking and really has no desire, or this is just a ploy to try to get Twitter at a cheaper price. We'll see. All right. So, besides some of this economic news, what about crypto overall? Well, there's an update with Voyager. Voyager is looking to sell themselves, right? And now Binance may be in it. So, supposedly, inside information has leaked out saying that Coinbase was somewhat interested. They looked at it. They're like, no, we're not interested, so Coinbase backs out. We know FTX really wants to buy Voyager, right? There's a really close connection between Voyager and FTX and Alameda, so we know they're already trying to buy it, though Steve Ehrlich is kind of trying to distance himself away, saying, no, we're not going to sell to FTX, right? But it looks like Binance may be joining in. That'll be interesting. I've said Binance has stayed so quiet recently, right? FTX is trying to be BlackRock and trying to buy everyone, right? We haven't heard of any big moves by Binance. They're sitting in the shadows right now, but maybe they're ready to make some moves. And also, what is it? Oh, no, I was thinking about Ripple. Ripple was thinking about buying Celsius assets. Surprisingly, Ripple didn't try to come in and buy Voyager assets, right? So a lot of talks about it. And here's the thing. Even if this happens, let's say FTX buys Voyager digital assets or Binance buys their assets, what happens to people's crypto, right? Are they actually going to give it back or it just goes away? I don't know. I actually don't know what happens if these exchanges buy the assets for like pennies on a dollar. What happens, right? Do they plan on giving it back to the users? I don't know. So we'll have to see. Overcome, thank you for that. And someone else sent me a super chat earlier. William Tur, thank you for that as well. So Yeah, it's getting interesting. It's getting interesting, to say the least. All right, now, besides that big Jackson Hole press conference tomorrow, there is something else that's pretty big too, and that is the end of the month Bitcoin expirations, deadline, basically. The last Friday of every month, you have a huge options expiration, and it's 1 billion, over 1 billion. That is tomorrow, right? So normally speaking, during a week of expiration, you either see a lot of volatility or you don't, right? And this week we're not seeing a lot. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We definitely did come down. We did come down, and maybe this had something to do with it. But for the most part, this week has been pretty flat, right? So we'll see if this has effect tomorrow when this expires. It's really early in the morning, so by the time I stream, it should already be over. But there is a CME futures expiration too, and that's usually a little bit later in the afternoon. So that could also be holding Bitcoin down right now, right, because of the expirations. And there's a ton of traders and institutions and whales that are playing options and futures. So they tend to try to manipulate the market as much as they can. All right, what else is there? As for Bitcoin, there's some interesting things coming out. Here's an unorthodox Bitcoin trend that could trigger BTC demand. It's not really that interesting. It's something that I've been saying. And basically, if you look at the holders versus newcomers, right? All previous cycles, you have like retail people coming in and then they get out, right? And that's really it. This time around, we had the same thing, but the holders got stronger and you have more holders now, right? So a lot of things have changed. So according to CoinShares, they basically said what I've been saying. We believe what we're observing is users increasingly using Bitcoin as a long-term savings tool and less as a shorter-term object of speculation, and that is true. Like I said, prior exponential runs, FOMO runs, you see a ton of FOMO people get in basically only to speculate on, the future price increase, right? And yes, we had that, but right now, even so, even when Bitcoin is down, we're starting to see more and more people turn to Bitcoin because they're trying to use it as long-term savings or AKA a store of value or AKA inflation hedge, right? So we're definitely seeing that. And it basically shows the system is maturing and more people understand, right? I don't think it's really that complex, but it is showing that we are in a very different spot now versus all the previous cycles we have been through where it's basically only retail FOMO and then retail dumping. And then when we have a halving event, again, retail FOMO, retail dumping, that's it, right? But now we actually have some real serious holders and even institutions that's involved, right? And they're holding too. And the holders in the space are getting stronger than ever too. So all good things. All good things. Other good things, a lot of people are looking at the DXY. Here's a really good look of what happened before when the DXY, the strength of the dollar, started going down. Okay, so you could see a couple times when DXY went down, what happened with Bitcoin. It went on both times actually, not just one. Both times went up on, like crazily upwards, right? So we are now seeing DXY sky high once again. A lot of people is thinking that we will see it come down, right? And if so, what does that mean? Well, it could definitely drive Bitcoin upwards, just like the two prior times. So interesting look of how DXY correlates with Bitcoin and also correlates with just RSI. So looking at that, interesting. And of course, I've shown different variations of this. Number of addresses holding at least one Bitcoin. A lot of people have been telling me in the chat, hey, I became a whole coiner, George, and I've been saying congratulations, right? The number of people becoming a whole coiner, at least having one Bitcoin, is going up and up and up. And now there are close to 900,000 addresses, at least one Bitcoin. But don't be discouraged if you're thinking I don't have a Bitcoin, but there's already 900,000 people with one. You know, most people have more than one address, right? So does not mean there's 900,000 people that actually have one Bitcoin. It could be only 400,000 or 500,000 or even less, right? So don't be discouraged if you don't have one yet, but I would say it's a great goal to have at least to have one Bitcoin, right? So good things. All right, now on to some crypto news outside of Bitcoin. I've been paying attention to Cardano because of the whole Vasil, FUD and basically when the hard fork is going to happen. And, the number of nodes or pools that have upgraded to 135.3 is skyrocketing. You need 75% to have the hard fork go. It's at 63% now. And just like 2 days ago, it was at 40. And 2 days prior to that, it was like 11%. So it is skyrocketing. So get ready. The Vasil hard fork could be coming this weekend. This is flying up. After it hits 75%, that means the hard fork is going to happen, right? And good things should come with this hard fork. So we will see. Just want to give you guys a heads up that it could be coming much sooner than expected because it was moving very slow. But now everyone is realizing, well, it's been tested. A lot of nodes have been running it already, right? A lot of pools, I should say, have been running already, and people are more comfortable with it, and they're upgrading tremendously right now. All right, so there's that. Uniswap, they had a vote in terms of creating a Uniswap foundation, right? Basically like a DAO almost to kind of dictate Uniswap's future and have a treasury to help improvements and development and all that stuff. So that's been approved. No surprise. Basically, it tries to make Uniswap more decentralized. And I think DeFi overall is only going to get stronger as we head into the future because it is the future, right? It's the reason why crypto is so strong right now outside of Bitcoin, right? Why so many alts and L1s and even L2s, they have stayed strong because of DeFi and plus the collapse of CeFi. So I think they're only going to get stronger. Polygon's founder raised $50 million for a new fund, specifically aiming at Web 3.0 projects. Basically, it's going to be like a VC almost, right, to invest in promising new projects. So that's pretty good. And then lastly, Coinbase, right? Coinbase, there's a lot of controversy, right? There's always a lot of controversy with Coinbase. So, I just thought I'd just bring this up because they say they're going to be new transparent. There's going to be more transparency in terms of who they add and stuff like that. But, I covered recently how they were coming out the new CB ETH, right? So that also relates to kind of like DeFi and stuff like that. But there's a lot of things going on with Coinbase. But, we'll see. We'll see if they are more transparent, and let's see how this new CB ETH is, and let's see how they deal with the SEC, right? So there's just a lot of things going on with Coinbase. That's it. No other thoughts about Coinbase. All right, so, Bitcoin is still hovering. Things are still looking pretty good. And that's pretty much it. Oh, the only other thing I want to talk about real quick, I know a lot of you guys are asking about wallets and ledgers, right? So, and some people have asked about discount code. I did notice this when I was browsing Ledger. There is a discount right now. So some of you guys been asking me, do you have a discount code? I don't have any discount codes. Even though I'm affiliate, I don't have any discount codes. But I did see they have a backup pack and a family pack that's 10% off right now. So if you are waiting on getting a Ledger because of a sale or something, this could be a good time to be picking them up. So this backup pack is the X and the S Plus together. And then a family pack gives you 3 X's. So in case you want to be extra secure, you could have more than one. So just bring that out there. And then, of course, utilize my affiliate link in the description below. All right, that is it. Let's do some Q&A. Ooh. I feel tired today. You know, this whole day I have not been feeling good. I don't know what it is. Stomach's hurting, feeling a little tired. But I continue streaming for you guys. Thoughts on BNB token? I do like Binance token. It's one of the big guys, top 5 coin that almost everyone sleeps on. It seems like no one talks about it because they think it's either too big or they don't quite understand how big Binance is and how big the ecosystem is, but they are absolutely enormous. So I do like Binance. Let's see. Did I miss anything? Smash of the like. Yes. What's happening with Sheeb? Last thing I heard was they released that game, that mobile game in Vietnam. You know, that brought a lot of attention to them. But outside of that, I haven't heard anything else recently. Can I withdraw BTC from Coinbase onto Ledger? Yes, of course. Moosey, that's the whole point. That's the whole point of getting your own wallet so that you can withdraw and hold it onto a wallet that you control. So yes, you could definitely withdraw BTC from Coinbase into Ledger. Thanks for hanging in there, Rich. Always appreciate it, man. Did you watch the new Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon? No, I tried and I couldn't get into it. Like, eventually I'll probably have to force myself to watch it, but I tried watching the first episode. I got through like 10 minutes of it after the girl was talking to her creepy uncle or something, and then I just lost interest. I believe tomorrow's press conference is going to be 10 a.m. Eastern and 9 p.m. or 9 a.m. Central. So if that's the case, and I think that's accurate. If that's the case, yep, 10 a.m. Eastern, so 9 a.m. Central. So I could pretty much cover that because my stream starts around 8:30, so I could pretty much cover it. But I don't know how long it's gonna last. So I don't know if it's going to be like a 1-hour meeting or just like a 10-minute meeting. I'm not quite sure. Jay says, I'm packing up part of my electrical contracting business and going to California to start installing these needed car chargers. That sounds like a very smart thing, right? One thing that I have always said about, EV cars in general, manufacturers, is that they can produce all the cars they want, but there's not enough charging stations out there, right? Because to charge a car, no matter how fast, and I think Hyundai right now leads the way, you could charge from 10 to 80% in 18 minutes, about 20 minutes, right? So it definitely is a lot longer than charging a gas-powered car. So you need a lot more chargers out there. So the infrastructure is just not ready yet. The supercharger network from Tesla is the biggest by far, but for everyone else, they're relying on a third-party charging stations, and there's just not that many around. So I think you're making a good move. 5-star sport betting. I don't know if you're joking about that, but, because you asked for it so much, I'm probably not going to hang in anymore. I heard Tesla's down 60% today. Christopher, you must have heard wrong because they had a 3-for-1 split, so they're not down 60% today. Yeah. Do I play fantasy football? No. I used to play fantasy basketball. I just don't watch football enough to be able to keep track of the guys. Can I send any ERC20 token to Ledger? Pretty much, yes. I mean, it's kind of like MetaMask. Basically, if it's ERC20, it supports it, even though it may not be on the list. But if you look at the list, it's like comprehensive. Basically, it stores any ERC20 token. Meek Vision, that is not true. Don't make assumptions. I did watch Game of Thrones. I love Game of Thrones. I hated the finale, but I have no interest in learning about all these new guys, honestly. It's like it takes so long to get into a series, to learn all the characters, to finally know their names and the houses they belong to and all this stuff. And because it takes place 170 something years before Game of Thrones, obviously you're not going to see any of the same people there, right? So, yeah, it's just like I just really don't want to learn it all again. Jordan, you know here in UK you can't even buy any EV new cars from anywhere in the British Isles from 2030? I don't know what you mean by that. Like you can't buy any EV cars or you can't find them right now? Because it's really hard to find any EV cars right now. So, I don't know what you mean by that. Luke, I think you can stop asking about it if anyone wants to buy your 2019 Honda Civic for 1 BTC. The answer is probably no. James, no. Has never crossed my radar. Not once. You can't buy any non-EV cars after 2030. So it's even so what you're saying, it's even faster than California. So California's 2035 is actually conservative compared to UK, which is 2030. Well, manufacturers better switch quickly, right? Yeah. Jesse, appreciate it. I'm looking forward to it, although it might be delayed another week. I don't know. There's still stuff pending in the background. I'm really anxious to get started, but maybe another week on top of the 2 to 3 weeks. So, if you're DCAing, how often should you withdraw to Ledger? I mean, you can withdraw every time. There's no right or wrong answer. If you want to leave some on exchanges because you may want to trade it, okay. But you can withdraw everything in Ledger all the time, especially if you just plan on holding it like forever or holding it until we're in the next bull run or something like that. You can withdraw anytime you want. Convex and Curve. I haven't really touched Convex. Curve, I think, is pretty good. I don't like their interface. It's so ancient. You know, they started out as just a DEX for stablecoins, which is still their primary use case, but they have expanded beyond just stablecoins. So, I mean, they're just like a good DEX, really. Habit at Solo. I'm a whole coiner. Congratulations. Let's see here. Will you race my mom's Toyota Corolla? Okay. Some weird questions tonight, that's for sure. George, consider an appliance garage in your kitchen, below cabinets, and Costco door from garage. Oh, I'm not even sure what you're asking. I don't even know what an appliance garage in your kitchen below cabinet. What does that even mean? I don't know what that means. Any new Lego sets? No, not right now. I bought some recently, but I forgot which sets I bought. And I've been avoiding all the big ones that I really want until I move. So nothing, nothing, nothing big recently. Have I heard of Dogecoin? Yes. Yes, I have. Opulus is a music royalty token on Algorand. Okay, interesting. I haven't heard anything about it, so I don't know much about it. Are you putting an electric charging port in a new house? Well, of course I have to do that. Not only am I putting it in the garage, I'm gonna put it outside too, because most of my trucks will need to be charged, and I'm probably gonna put them outside. So I'm gonna have like a driveway area, just for a couple extra cars outside. Probably go park my Cybertruck there, and I don't know if I'm gonna get something else, my Rivian maybe. So, yeah, there's gonna be sockets everywhere basically. I think BTC reaches 24K this weekend. Yeah, this week Bitcoin came down and it's just really being suppressed. You can kind of tell it's just not moving, right? We could certainly get back to 24K tomorrow if we get some good news from Powell, and after the options expirations, right? We could definitely see Bitcoin climb right back up to 23, 24K. We were just there, and if we can retest 24.2 and we could kind of break through it, then good things are going to come. And if you look at some of the shorter term indicator, like the day, if you look at a daily chart, I mean, RSI is dirt low. MACD is about to flip over. Stochastic is still on its way up. That's fantastic from a short-term perspective. Even 4-hour RSI is still just halfway, still nowhere near peak, right? So if you're looking at a short-term indicators, it looks pretty good for Bitcoin. So let's see what happens tomorrow. We get some good news from Powell. Markets could run, especially crypto markets. Dylan is asking thoughts on the French Connection Finance, FCF. They built quite the payment gateway that pays gateway fees back to the holders. Dylan, I have no idea what project you're talking about. No idea. Just from this alone, I'm not going to touch it, right? Any project, first of all, that has 5 decimal points, in my book, that there's something fishy there already. And the market cap is only 5.6 million. And the market cap and the volume is at 20,000. Dylan, this is just not a project that I would be looking at right now. It's just way too small, way too speculative, and could go under any time. Cybertruck. I'll take things that don't exist for 1,000, Alex. Well, hopefully it'll exist in 2023 and 2024. Osmosis, EVMosis, and Atom. I didn't even know about EVMosis. I'm assuming that's a EVM compatible chain on Osmosis. Osmosis itself, good. Cosmos, good. I like that whole chain. I like the whole ecosystem. I just think Terra kind of screwed them up a little bit. What's your version of a sexy pizza at a restaurant? I don't consider pizza sexy, so I don't know what my version of a sexy pizza would be. I just like delicious pizza. That's it. I don't know what is considered a sexy pizza. I'm not Dave Portnoy. I don't know if he rates things. He rates things on a scale, but I don't think by their sexiness. What kind of water purification system? I don't know. I haven't thought about it. There's gonna be a filter in the fridge. There's gonna be a Sub-Zero fridge, a nice Sub-Zero fridge that's gonna take 12 months before it gets here. So I don't know if that answers your question. I lost 60% of my money with Terra and now Solana. What do you think about it? I don't think anything about it. Basically, it sounds like you need to continue to HODL and continue to DCA. Terra, I don't know. I don't support Terra anymore, obviously, after what happened to Do Kwon, their forced fork, and Luna Classic seems like it's just being pumped by all these shillers on Twitter. So, yeah. So Terra, I don't know. But as for Solana, if you have patience, continue to HODL and DCA, you'll get back to even and even in the green in the future. Is there a strip club in the metaverse? I don't know. I'm sure someone's working on one if there isn't one. My water comes straight from the creek running through my property. Takes not 6 months. Okay. Okay. On the short-term indicators, which would you say that holds the most weight? I mean, I think just looking at RSI. Plain old RSI is a very good indicator. If you look at something that's, especially at shorter time frames, is it oversold? Is it overbought? It's pretty good. Longer term indicators, you got to look at, like a lot of guys look at moving averages, waves, stuff like that, right? And sometimes they're accurate, sometimes they're not. But short term, I say the most basic one is the one that's the most accurate, and that's RSI. Will you keep buying BTC after 75 or 100K? There's no reason not to. After 100K, there's no reason why Bitcoin won't go to 200K, 500K, 1 million someday. Bitcoin is going to be the greatest store of value we have. And there's no reason why, as more adoption comes in, more people buys and hodls, right? And even more countries adopt Bitcoin, there's no reason why it can't continue upwards. So, yes. If buying a new car, consider what the resale value will be when you plan to sell it, because it's going to drop like a rock closer we get to 2035. Well, 2035 is still 12 years away, Dave. So unless you're planning to resell it in 12 years, I don't know. That's just way too long for me to think about it. 12 years, most cars have depreciated like 80%, 90%. So I think that's a little far out. I thought you were going to go with like, be prepared the next few years when there isn't a supply chain issue, cars will drop. I thought that's where you're going. But now you're saying 2035. So I don't know. Gangster party, I have no idea what you're asking. Tesla Model Y does not depreciate. Ming, it will. It will. When it turns out that FSD runs over little children, like those mannequin videos that's been popping up. I will say Model Y has held its value very well, and FSD has been going up, even though I still don't have FSD, and I still don't trust autopilot fully, and I'm just not sure FSD will ever get to full self-driving anytime soon. Maybe not even before 2035. We will see. Am I going to get an entertainment room? My entertainment room will probably be my garage and my basement. I have not hit the bottle. I'm just tired. Like I said, this whole day I've been tired, not feeling the greatest here. Will FSD ever be able to handle complex scenes like in front of a grocery store, picking up kids from school? I don't know. That's the hope. The hope is FSD will be so good, it could replace humans, right? It could replace our vision, our knowledge, our driving expertise that over time, this big Tesla brain behind the scenes been learning from all the drivers, and one day can interpret all that. But right now, it's far, far, far away from that. Nowhere close to that. So that's one of the things that irritates me, that FSD price keeps going up and people are paying for it, yet the promise of it keeps getting delayed, right? And then, now Elon's going to raise it up to 15,000. Is it going to be done soon? Like, when is it going to be done? The only good thing about paying for FSD on a Tesla, in my opinion, is it helps appreciate the car. Because if FSD keeps going up, well, then your car value goes up because you can't transfer it. It stays with your car. So that's like the only good thing I see about it. That's the reason why I keep buying FSD on all my Teslas, even though I still don't have it. Will Ford Lightnings come down in price? What's a good price for? I don't know, but I know every dealership is marking them up, some by over $100,000. It's quite crazy. But if they ever get back to normal and they could sell Lightnings at basically even cost as their normal F-150s, Ford will sell 1 million of them every year. I mean, it's crazy. If they can get down the price to like a normal F-150, it is that good. Like this Lightning I'm testing right now, who needs a Cybertruck? This F-150 is already a fully operational, full-size EV truck, and it is pretty darn good. So, but I don't know if Ford can bring the prices down, and I don't know if they can produce that many. All right, guys. Overall, big day tomorrow. Let's see what comes out of Jackson Hole, what comes out of Powell. Is he going to crash the markets? Or if he says nothing, will the markets rally? That's the hope, right? And I do think that there's a good chance that it's a big nothing burger. Nothing is going to be said, right? And if nothing is said, that's a good thing. And it'll let the markets recover. And as for Bitcoin, there's a big options expiration. So we could get some relief from that as well. So stay strong, my friends, and tune in tomorrow, 8:15 a.m. Central Standard Time. And we'll look at it together. And as for John's question, I like Avalanche a little better than Phantom, but I like Phantom a lot too. All right. That's it. And check out CryptosRUs.com for the latest news, article, and guides. Don't miss out. And have a good night, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.